You can see the date on this thing is wrong. Actually, this was the date I was going to teach this class, but I was mistaken because I wasn't supposed to teach that day. So actually, last time I taught a class, I think must have been at October 12th. But I know the dates because today is actually November 9th. So to be honest with you, I forgot where we were. It's been a long time. My memory's not as long as it used to be. And I'm going to start with the beginning of chapter 3. And I hope I don't be too redundant, but it's a very important chapter, chapter 3 of James. Well, all of James is, but chapter 3 really explains the whys to us. My brethren, let not many of you become teachers, knowing that we shall receive a stricter judgment. James's warning isn't how dangerous it is to be a teacher. It's about how dangerous it is to be a teacher for reasons other than good reasons. That was the problem they were experiencing. There was prestige at that time to be a rabbi. There was money to be made for being a good rabbi. And people, popularity, when you go through the village, people, rabbi. A lot of reasons why people wanted to become teachers. And this is what James is warning against. You got to be motivated by good reasons to be a teacher. You got to have a good heart and good intentions to be a teacher. It's not how effective one is as a teacher. It's not how good he speaks, oratory skills, or things like that. It's about the heart. What's in your heart? Beware. Be careful. You got to have the right heart. Why? Because we all stumble in many things, and we know that. Well, we know that. We stumble all the time. We stumble. And James is saying, we all, he stumbled too in many things. If anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man. The word seems to be the weakest point of human beings. If he does not stumble in word, he's a perfect man, complete, whole, entire, able also to bridle the entire body. If you can control your tongue, you can control the rest of yourself, because the tongue is the hard one. We put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us. We turn their whole body, just with a small bit in the mouth, in that massive creature. Look also at ships, large. Although they are so large and are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder wherever the pilot desires. He controls the entire ship with that little bitty rudder, the power of little things. Even so, the tongue, it's a little member, and it boasts great things. See how great a force a little fire kindles, the problems that come from the tongue. And through the years, I've grown to appreciate more and more and more what James is talking about, the damage that can be done by a loose tongue, shatter people's reputations. So many horrible things happen because of what people say about other people, and it's not true. These false statements about other people, character assassination is likened unto murder in the Bible, because you murder a person's reputation. I think one of the worst things we can do is to speak evil of others, and especially when it's not true. And it's so easy to do. It is so easy to do. Somebody you know, somebody you trust tells you something about somebody else. And automatically in your mind it becomes truth. And then you repeat it. What if it's a lie? Now you're repeating a lie. You're spreading a lie. You're spreading gossip. You're assassinating other people's character. And the damage that can be done is, oh my goodness, horrible, horrible. Every preacher knows about such things. We make a lot of people angry, and they say things about us that aren't true. And there's used to I try to combat those things, but it's not impossible. And the only thing you really can do is just let her fly and hope that the right people will believe in you more than those who spread lies about you. Because you can't stop it. Man, when that tongue gets going, it's gone. And then ain't coming back. And it's a horrible thing. When you're the victim of it, it's a horrible thing that happens. The tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. The tongue is so set among our members that it can defile the entire body. And it sets on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire by hell. Now, that's a hard statement. I don't care who it is. That's a difficult statement to try to understand. I'm going to break it down in 3 parts. First of all, the tongue is a fire. Well, Solomon said in 1627, an ungodly man digs up evil, and it is on his lips like a burning fire. He's shooting out these fiery darts about someone else. Evil reports about another man. It's a fire. It sets things on fire. It's a world of iniquity. The world of iniquity is a phrase that indicates that the tongue, when improperly used, is the sum of evil. It's the sum of evil. It's likened unto the devil, because the devil, he was an accuser of the brethren, and when you accuse people of things that's not true, you become in league with the devil. And the sad part is sometimes we don't even know it, because whoever told us what they told us, we believed it was true. And now we start throwing out the fiery darts ourselves. Oh, you got to be careful. And it defiles the entire body. Defiles from spilo. It means to spot or to stain. The improper use of the tongue will spot or stain the entire body. Have a big mark on us because of the sin that we've committed. A slanderer eventually exhibits the effects of his sin in his own personality. I've watched this happen a lot of times in life. Number one, his outlook on life becomes polluted. A person who loves to talk evil about other people, their view of life becomes dirty, becomes useless, it becomes ugly. Everything becomes ugly. As they spread rumors all the time, lying about people, other people, or lying about things that happen, they become ugly in the process. They don't even know it. It's a gradual thing. But as you spread ugly, you become ugly. Your view of life becomes very ugly. You don't see anything that's attractive. Nothing's beautiful. Nothing's pretty anymore, because everything's ugly. The lies, it turns our point of view. It affects our personality, and we see things through colored glasses. His confidence in his fellow man vanishes, because nobody's true. Everybody's a liar. What was I saying? Oh, I forgot what it is now. Something about liars. But the view of such a person is that there's no such thing as a good person. Everybody's a liar. No one can be trusted in their speech. Well, let's think about that just a second. Everybody lies. James already told us that. We stumble in many things. Sometimes we lie. For whatever reason, we lie. It's an act of sin when we lie. But because we lie, that doesn't mean we're a liar. There's a difference between a lie and a liar. The word liar would be present tense, continuous action. To tell a lie for whatever reason, whether in ignorance or knowingly, you tell a lie, that's an act. But a person who is a liar is a person who lies habitually. So because a person tells a lie, that doesn't make them evil. That doesn't make them hopeless. that makes them human. But to continue lying, to indulge in lying for the pleasure of lying, that's going to affect your view of other people. That's what happens with prostitution. Men who participate in prostitution get an ugly opinion about women in general because of the coldness, the harshness, the vileness of prostitutes sometimes. Men surmise that all women are this way, and their attitude towards women diminishes. Pornography. People like to watch pornography. It's one of the biggest businesses in our culture. But as men watch pornography, or women watch pornography, their opinion of the opposite sex is denigrated. They stop appreciating beauty. Now, when I say beauty, I'm talking about outward and inward. For me, inward's most important. I like beautiful people, kind, considerate, compassionate, et cetera, et cetera. To me, that's a beautiful thing to see in people. But when people indulge in pornography, their opinion of the opposite sex is denigrated much. They get to where they look at the other person not as a person, but as an object of gratification. This person is there to satisfy my needs. That's the value of my wife. She satisfies my needs, and she becomes an object to the man. She's a tool in his tool belt that's used and put up. It's not good. It affects the mind more than people think it does. You know, I read some time ago, I can't remember where, but it was something I trusted in, but that all people that were in prison that was interviewed for rape, murder, and such as that, say it all began with pornography and their love of it. They continued to increase in their ungodly activities, and finally it led to rape and in some cases even murder. But they all said it started with pornography. It's like a cancer in the brain. It eats a person up like a drug. And it's so gradual that the guy or woman who's engaged doesn't know what's happening. They don't see themselves becoming ugly. To them, nothing's changed, but others can see it by the way they talk, by the way they talk about other people. It has a terrible effect on us. And of course, the spiritual life grows stale and dies. When Christian people engage in lying or find out that they have engaged in lying and don't repent of it, engaging in pornography, any kind of sin as a way of life, their faith in God becomes stale. They become indifferent towards the Lord and His church and her works, her growth, spread of Christianity. These things don't matter. The ugliness of sin takes hold of us, and nothing is much worthwhile anymore. It's a terrible thing. It all begins with the tongue. A mechanic may be capable of doing excellent work, may be very good, but if he lies to us, suddenly he's untrustworthy. Is that right? How many lies does he have to tell you before you get to where you can't trust him? Can we say one? I don't like to be lied to. I really don't like to be lied to. My daddy hated a lie. I can't believe I said that. Nobody lied more than he did. He lied mostly, though, for jokes. Bad jokes, but jokes in his mind. Anyway, he didn't like liars at all. And when I was a kid and I tell him a lie, wow, man, I was in trouble. Bad thing to do is tell a lie. Best thing to do is tell the truth and take your punishment. When you tell a lie, you got 3 or 4 or 5 times the punishment. And man, could he whip you. Boy, he could whip you. And then ground you for, sometimes he'd say a year. Of course, it didn't last a year, but it scared me to death. Anyway, the thing was, I wound up disliking lies too. I didn't think too much about it till I became the object of many lies. I remember, like when I first started here, oh man, there were so many things said about me, I couldn't believe it. The stories that were going on, the rumors that were circulating, and I hated it so much because it wasn't true, and people believed it. People that I didn't have to worry about, but they believed it. The thing is, the people here at Center Grove, they didn't believe it either, because they knew me, and they knew that wasn't me. I didn't do stuff like that, but we survived. But the pain and the embarrassment of these lies, oh, they're a killer. I don't like lies. I don't like it because of the damage they do. A lie can hurt a church. Lies hurt churches. I've often wondered what the Lord, how he'll judge those who create problems in the church by spreading a falsehood. You know, he loves his church so much, and damage done to her because of a lie is a terrible, terrible thing. Terrible. It's ancient and true adage, no one is better than his word. And that's really how we judge people, isn't it? By what they say and do. We listen to people talk. We judge as they talk. The person appears to be truthful or not, but we make decisions as we listen to somebody's speech. The tongue is a fire. It sets on fire the course of nature, and it's set on fire by hell. That's a difficult text right there. I pulled up the ESV, and here's what it has: setting on fire the entire course of life, and set on fire by hell. I think that's a fair translation of this particular statement. It's a lot more understandable. A person's entire life is affected by the loose tongue. It affects the individual that spreads the lie. It affects the individual who's being lied on. It sets on fire the entire course of their life, depending on the severity of the lie, of course. And it's set on fire by hell. The fire that rages because of a lying tongue can only be likened unto the fire of hell itself, because of the damage that's done by the tongue. Now, people, I know they don't look at the lie this seriously. What we are reading is how God looks at the lie. Regardless of what we think, this is what God thinks. The lying tongue is something that is likened by God unto hell itself. That's the way he judges it. That's how much he hates it. A lying tongue. I've often wondered if which the Lord despises the most, murder, taking of human life, or murder, denigrating the character of another individual. I don't know, but I've always wondered which he sees as the more serious offense. Anyway, the fire produced by the unrighteous tongue can only be compared to the fire produced in hell. Every kind of beast, bird, reptile, creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind. God gave man dominion over all the creatures of the earth. But no man can tame the tongue. You cannot get it under control. It is an unruly evil, and it is full of deadly poison. That's what's in our mouth. BR told me the other day that the tongue is such a wild and loose creature that God put it in a cage so we could cage it up, hem it up, shut it up, and not let it get out of control. We got 2 ears and only 1 mouth. Hear more than we speak. There's so many things about the human body that goes along with what the Bible teaches us. I think we're being warned in 2 ways. Warned through the scriptures themselves and warned through our bodies what to beware of. James did not mean, and I read a commentary where a preacher said that James did mean, but he did not mean, number 1, man is unable to control his tongue. That's not what James meant. Man is able to control his tongue. Will he do it or not? That's a decision he has to make. He can if he chooses to. So a man is capable. Think of if man wasn't able to control the tongue, what would that make God? Wouldn't he be responsible for our sins of the tongue? If we're not capable to control our tongue, wouldn't the blame lie at God's feet because he made us this way? He didn't make us that way. He gave us free will. We can control the tongue, but will we? That's a decision you and I have to make for ourselves. We have to learn certain rules to follow when we speak or don't speak. He does not mean man is excused from abuses of its improper use. Well, you can't control your tongue anyway, so God isn't going to hold you accountable for what the tongue does. That's not what James is talking about. Not at all. Thirdly, God assigned an impossible task, yet demands that it be done. What does that make God? If God gave us a tongue we cannot control, it's beyond our ability, yet he demands that we do it anyway, what kind of a God are we talking about? It would be a monster, not a God. Not the God we know, at least. Tamed wild animals roam free, but we have to keep a chain on our tongue. We got to take it seriously. That's number 1. We got to realize and believe the damage that can be done by an out-of-control tongue. In Psalm 140, verse 3, the psalmist said, they sharpen their tongues like a serpent. The poison of asps is under their lips. What a way to live, huh? Always looking for ugly. And if it isn't there, becoming a little bit creative and make it uglier or uglier than it was. What a way to get joy in life. But people do it. This is section 6, number 3, contradictions of the tongue, verses 9 through 12. With the tongue we bless our God and Father, and with the tongue we curse men, who have been made in the similitude of God. How many are guilty of this one? Matter of fact, I pulled one Friday. that I wish I hadn't have. But I did. How could I do such a thing? Don't ask me. I don't know the answer to that question. James says, out of the same mouth proceed blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be so. That's right. They shouldn't be so. But sometimes they are. It's not because we couldn't control our tongue or our temper. It's because we didn't. We let it run away from us, and we lost control. Does a spring send forth fresh water and bitter from the same opening? Well, of course not. Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olives, or a grapevine bear figs? Thus no spring yields both salt water and fresh. And of course, he's likening all this unto the tongue. The godly tongue can't send forth fresh water and at the same time salt water. Sometimes that godly tongue becomes ungodly in its work. The word devil is translated from the Greek diablos. It means a slanderer, accuser, false witness. This is what God called Satan, devil. He's also called a liar and the father of lies. Some are like their father, the devil. Oh, nobody's going to agree to that. But if a person is a slanderer, accuser, and a false witness, habitually holding on to a lie, how can they deny being a child of the devil? This is his very nature. Has it become ours? When a bad report is heard, please listen to this carefully. Somebody says something to me that's not good about someone else. What should I do? Number one, ask myself, is it true? Well, this was my child. This is my father or mother that told me that. Of course, it has to be true. When you're told something ugly about someone, first question, you ask yourself, is it true? And the only way you can know if something is true is to investigate. You got to investigate. Personally, I've always found the best way to find out the truth is to go to the head of the stream and ask. Person who's spreading a lie, why have you said what you said? What do you know that I don't know? You know, there's been a few times where a person they were correct in their judgment. And after they told me what they knew, I was almost in agreement. First, I had to go talk to the other person, and then I find out, well, that was true. Most of the time, there's no evidence that the rumor that's being told is true. Well, my mother told me. Well, your mother probably believed somebody she trusted, and she told you something that's not true. Not purposely, out of ignorance. But what are you going to do with it? Well, the first thing you want to do is it true? And find out if it's true or not. And if it's not true, what's the second thing you're going to do? You're going to go tell your mama. Mama, what you told me isn't true. And then explain to her why it isn't true. So she can stop saying whatever it was she was saying. I don't like when this happens. A report is circulated about someone in the church. A report that's not true. We had something here that happened some time back. cause friction in the congregation. Over what? Over something that wasn't true. I knew it wasn't true. I was involved with it almost from the beginning. I knew what took place. I knew what happened. And yet people who trusted me did not believe me when I explained it. Filled with rage and anger, unwilling to listen, to be logical, to be reasonable, to be rational, to demand evidence to the verdict. It never took place. And honestly, it just absolutely breaks my heart because I love these people like crazy. Is it true? Simple question. Is it? Well, my daughter told me, of course it's true. Is it true? Find out if it's true. There are people to talk to. There are things to find out. If you need to know, find out. That's what I would do. Secondly, is it going to do any good to repeat it? Somebody tells me a big juicy tale on someone. I can tell it or I can keep my mouth shut. What do I do? Well, let's suppose that the tale is true. Somebody got a little loose in their marriage. Do I want to tell people so and so's loose with his marriage? What good does that do if I say that? How does that help or improve the situation? What good does it do? Why do I repeat it? Why do I want to repeat it? Why? What motivates me to do such a thing? It's not going to do any good if I repeat it. So why not use the cage and keep the tongue captive and not say anything about it? Sometimes I think when a truth is told, I think it's good to tell it. Somebody is going around robbing the neighborhood, and it's known who this individual is. What do? You tell your neighbors to be on guard. So-and-so's been robbing houses according to the sheriff. Be on guard. Make sure that this person isn't around too much because they're liable to rob you. They might hurt you. Sometimes it's necessary. It's a good thing to tell something that's not good. And sometimes it's not a good thing. It's best to stay out of the fray. And then you can't be guilty of sin. Two very important questions. Always remember them. Number one, is it true? Number two, what good will it do for me to repeat this? How's it going to help anybody? You brood of vipers, Jesus said, speaking to the religious leaders of the Jews. How can you, being evil people, possibly speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The tongue, what we're talking about, this instrument of evil, the tongue is a reflection of the heart. What's in the heart comes out by means of the tongue. So when we listen to the tongue, it's not the tongue that we're seeing, it's the heart. The heart conjured up these words. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The overflow of the heart. The heart is, of course, not this, But the heart, as used in the Bible, is the seat of our entire personality, our soul, our spirit. What we are will be seen by our words, just like what we are can be seen by our actions. Whatever you do, remember what Paul said, whatever you do, in word, tongue, or deed, action, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Doing what we do because we know it's the will of God and it's by the power of God that we say the things we say. Our words and our actions are a revealing of our very soul, whether it's black or white. Now, we don't look at things this way. God does. This is what we're learning. This is the mind of God. This is what God sees. This is what God thinks. And God's judgment is right. We can disagree with him all we want to, but God's judgment is right. God's judgment is going to stand in the day of the judgment, regardless of what you and I think. His will never change. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart brings forth evil things. If the heart is good, good things come forth from the tongue and the actions. If the heart is evil, evil things come forth from the tongue and the actions. In this case, the tongue. I say to you, boy, this is one that always flipped my cork. I say to you that for every idle word men may speak, they will give an account of it in the day of judgment. You know, there was a time I used to talk a whole lot. And after I read this and thought about it, I decided not to talk so much. Isn't that a funny thing for me to say? I sit up here and talk all the time. Idle talk, I don't engage in it much. I guess I've trained myself not to talk too much because of we're going to be judged by what we say. And it's a little frightening. Sometimes, you know, people say, well, you're rattling. It's not good to rattle. When you rattle, you say things you shouldn't say. Get carried away, but whatever it is. By your words, you're going to be justified, pardoned, forgiven, embraced by the Lord Jesus, and by your words you will be condemned, cause you to lose your soul. Your words will cause you to lose your soul. Oh, I want to clean up my language, something fierce, because I don't want to lose my soul because of my speech. Every idle word. How many idle words do we speak every single day? It's something to think about. They will give account of each one. Okay, wise to understand. I believe everybody's fixing to come back. We may need to wait right here. We'll begin, God willing, next week with verses 13 and 14. I don't know how long it's going to take to do it. We'll just wait on that. Verse 13. Hopefully I'll make a note of where I am. You know, I did pretty good without oxygen. Still breathing good. I'm not going to brag today. I bragged the last time I come in here like some huff and puff kind of guy. And a couple of days later, man, I was on my face. I'm not going to brag this time. I'm going to keep the tongue in the cage.